Normal Heights Community Planning Group for Tuesday, December 2nd. We have two of our board members are on Zoom tonight. So that makes 2, 4, 6, 8 board members total present. Does someone have the notes? We need someone to take notes.
I'll take notes.
Okay. Thank you. It'd be pretty straightforward today.
Right. Matthew's online
And Francis.
Francis. Thank you.
Yes. And we have, and Ramie is the other participant online. So that makes 3 online, 8 board members, Parker plus 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 in the room. I like to keep track of all souls. And Danielle just joined. All right, so get the sharing going. Welcome. The Normal Heights Planning Group envisions a healthy, vibrant community that honors unceded Kumeyaay land and cares for all inhabitants. We prioritize inclusion and equitable land use, valuing people over commodification. Through pedestrian-friendly infrastructure, transit-oriented development, open space preservation, and affordable housing, we strive for a vibrant and sustainable neighborhood. Additionally, we promote responsible economic development that supports historic preservation, local businesses, fosters job opportunities, and enhances the overall economic vitality of Normal Heights. The proceedings today are being recorded and will be posted publicly on our website after the meeting. It usually takes a few days to get there. Items on the agenda may be addressed out of their listed order and time. The chat entries in Zoom are not considered official communications. And please enter your name on our sign-up sheet, or if you're in Zoom, drop it into the chat so that we can stay in touch with you and have you on our mailing list. We have 2 minutes per person, generally for the public comment and also for discussion, unless extended by the chair or on the agenda. And please stay on topic. Other questions can often be answered offline. Our civic representatives are our guests and to be treated with utmost respect. Try to be as factual as possible and share the space, especially for new faces. And I do see some new faces in the room. And anyone may attend from anywhere in the world. And we still do not allow horses inside. Next up is non-agenda public comment. 2 minutes per person. We'll start with the attendees in the room and then move to the attendees on Zoom, finishing up with board members. Is there anyone for public comment? Yes.
Hi, I'm Claire Deutsch, property owner, business owner of the neighborhood. My husband's actually a prior Normal Heights board member.
Adam.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so my question comes about of just trying to learn a bit more information regarding Ford Canyon Park. I noticed when the mock building was torn down, which was great, finally happened, that it seems that the fencing that's up, which is a black chain link, and the bark, it seems temporary and not following the plans for Ford Canyon Park that are posted on the city website, the ones that are done by Schmidt Design Group. It seems they've been around for a long time. And just kind of the concern being that as potential other works being done at the park, is whoever's performing the work kind of being held accountable to the plan that was in place, in which that northwest corner was supposed to kind of mirror the other side with entry gating and kind of add a little promenade and some trees. And it just kind of struck me as, oh, I hope this is temporary. Or are all the plans kind of going to be put forward in a way that's not really holding to what was proposed and what we would hope for? I wasn't sure if this is the avenue of learning more or
You're close. We have Nancy Lawler's on our board, and she is also on the board of the Normal Heights Park or Normal Heights Recreation Group, and they've just had a presentation from the city on the plans there. You have any direct updates?
It's different from what we had stated from before. They have new plans. They then, what they're gonna do is they're going to put in a new playground. It's gonna be, it's all brand new. It's a state of the art one that they've been doing. It's gonna have different colors. We had to vote on the color of what we wanted to see what the equipment colors were. There's things that they can climb on. There's, like things that they can, sensory things on there where they can get different chimes. And I don't know if you've ever seen some of those that in different areas that, that they can do type of art now. And, also it's gonna be the playground equipment's gonna brought back farther away from the street because of safety reasons. They're bringing that back. So I don't know, like might be a few trees leaving, might be that big round one. There's a big area, a circle area with a tree in there. So they're going to remove a tree or something. I don't know exactly. And then at the front, there's going to be, I don't know if you heard about the new the artist is, and he's gonna put his artwork up there in the front, the sculpture, whatever it is. And then they're going to, another part of it is they're going to put, do the dog park over there. So say this phase has the playground equipment. Trans will not give that piece of property up. So they're gonna, they'll be probably over there where the sound barriers, where they park those trucks, sometimes the tow trucks over there. There's gonna have some parking space. There's gonna be a large and a small dog park there. They're gonna have some trees planted in there. There's gonna be a water fountain. There's gonna be, a place for, probably some shelter in there and things. It's gonna be right in front of the community garden. And there's gonna be some they're not gonna open that between 40th Street where it's buried off. I'm not gonna open that.
Yeah, I think
Thank you.
it would be great if, I don't know, maybe even if, I couldn't find any of these kinds of plans anywhere. That would be great to have, to maybe even post them on the website.
Yeah, we have, Jim,
There's a section for the community garden,
sure.
but not the greater.
So Jim Burrows is online and he is chair of that committee. Jim, do we have any, is there a place where we can find the documents for that plan at the Ward Canyon Park?
The only hi everybody, can you hear me? Say yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The only document I have to show right at the moment is the original general development plan, which largely is going to continue to be the plan for the park, except for these two exceptions, which were rolled out to us and that was just explained. The dog park is going to move from where it is over to next to the freeway in a shorter, smaller space than we originally planned because Caltrans won't close off the ramp space. And the other major change is the community garden, which I'm sure you're all very aware of. As to the I have asked for, and when I have them available, I'll get the slides that were presented at the recreation group meeting and make those available through Paul to your guys' access. Remember, this is a plan. There was no timelines, no dates given, no promises that it'll be available in our lifetime.
Granted, I think this would be a good agenda item, and we can bring some of the city staff in for a presentation on this, and we can ask the questions directly that would give some heat. So yeah, Jim, I'll coordinate with you on getting the contacts from your counterparts in the city and see when they can get scheduled in, maybe January, February timeframe.
Great, glad to help.
Okay.
This seems that the group could help to hold the accountability for things being built to the quality that this is our only current space of our main playground in this
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, we want it to be quality and not just kind of a temporary field.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Do we have any other comments from the room? Yes.
Hi, I'd like to thank you for your help. I'm trying to get my street swept. It wasn't swept any of the 5 previous scheduled sweepings, and you did make some calls. Were you the one that put the please move your car?
Yeah.
On the abandoned vehicle? I was away. I don't usually do that. But I believe that it rained that day and they always skip.
Oh,
So that's 6 out of 6 that they missed this year.
okay.
I did get a message from the mayor stating that my sweeping on my street was done on an overtime basis. And since there's no money for overtime, does that mean this essential service is not going to be provided to me? And share my frustration. The first time I came to this meeting was to find out what was happening with street sweep. And
Yeah.
now it comes out that it just, you pay your taxes, but you don't get the service.
Right.
And so this kind of, if they're neglecting something basic, and by the way, the state says that it needs to be swept once a year. Now they failed. Who's to hold the city accountable for that? I mean, what other basic services, I see, code enforcement not being done. I see junk on the street, I'm paying for a trash pickup and the overcrowded apartment across, that's how people make it affordable. They have like 3 or 4 families living in a 2-bedroom. They put their trash in front of my house, so they get picked up, and then it gets picked up in front of my house. And this is $500 a year extra that I pay because the city couldn't get it done with my property tax.
Okay.
So
Let me,
time's up, but I share my frustration with this. This is 25 years in this neighborhood, and you're gonna sweep my street when there's money for overtime. I'm not happy.
got it. Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you for your help.
Well,
I 25 years, I've never gotten as much cooperation from the Normal Heights Planning Group as you gave. So it's not you.
Okay.
I want to thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
You did it
And
here.
we're not done yet.
As chairman, I've been abused and intimidated.
We're not done yet. We're gonna find out.
25 years, you think I'm quitting?
We're gonna
No,
find
sir.
out if they did in fact skip, if they skipped because of rain, and did it rain on that day? And find out about
Well,
this
then it
overtime.
rained twice
Yeah,
this year, that was the excuse that they gave twice. Equipment, vacations,
Right.
6 times they missed.
yeah, we'll keep the heat on.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. You have no idea.
This is- And for those in the room, this,
It's kind of the neglected part, I mean.
this is, the street sweeping might seem like a small issue, and we have, well, a few streets and a few alleys, but this is an indication of neglect. And so by bringing this to the city's attention and then keep pushing on it, we can make sure that they receive the message that Normal Heights is not to be ignored. So, it'll show its face in other areas, whether it's paving or fire services.
Exactly.
Yes,
Our section of, North Mountain View has been missed 5 out of the last 6 months. Out of the last 6 months, they've done it once,
okay,
and that was because of the run.
Got it. They've got the map now up. It was broken. There's a map that shows all the routes, for street sweeping, which, I'll make a note to get a link to that map on our website. So you can see you can look up any street, see what the route number is on it and the schedule, for when it occurs. Anybody else from the room?
Guys,
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I wanna say, I've never seen this before. I've been here, living in Normal Heights since 1976. And the first time over between Cherokee and East Mountain View Drive by the Normal Heights Elementary School, they was, street sweeping one side of it, where the buses parked.
Okay, good to know. There's no one else in the room, then let's move to Zoom. Becky, you have your hand up.
Hi, yes,
ahead.
good evening. Good evening. My name is Becky Rapp, and I'm here tonight to share some concerns regarding the city's marijuana department and ask for your support in requesting greater transparency and oversight from the city. Recently, the city's ED and IR committee discussed an agenda item proposing to allow for permitting of out-of-town marijuana delivery services and also to increase fines on illegal operations. And while this proposal focuses on increasing revenue for the city and also enforcement, it also highlights a much larger issue, which is that the public still does not have clarity on how well the city is managing and enforcing its existing regulations. It's been years since the city provided the public with a full audit on how much taxes have been collected, as well as the penalties for those who we know have not been paying their taxes, and the marijuana's overall operations and oversight, and the lack of transparency. And these are concerns that directly impact community planning groups, which are expected to review and comment on permits and applications without having access to reliable information about whether the current operators are even compliant or whether the city is effectively enforcing its own rules. So it's difficult to make sound decisions when underlying regulatory systems remain unclear. So tonight, I just respectfully ask that you consider a formal request of the city, a full audit of the marijuana department's operations, oversight, and compliance, a transparent report on the tax revenues collected to date. A detailed breakdown of outstanding penalties and enforcement actions would also be very important. And I thank you for this time.
Thank you. Do you happen to know if the revenue collected goes into any of the infrastructure funds that the city has?
As far as I know, it goes into the general fund.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment from the board? All right, then we will move on to planning for the new year. And so let me skip ahead and do Normal Heights Fire Safe Council.
Yes.
So
Someone wanting to meet or anything.
we have another comment. Oh, somebody came in. Okay, thank you. And I will share screen here. Yes.
Okay, so my turn.
Yes.
All right. So I'm Redling's Normal Heights Fire Safe Council Chair, and I have a little update of the couple of items that happened in the last month or two. And one of them was a workshop that I conducted November 10th in the Moss, and we talked about fire fuel reduction and home hardening. I had another presenter besides myself, that would be Erin Perry. She's also a board member, but a very busy worker bee, so unfortunately she wasn't able to join us tonight, so she could talk about her updates. But it was generally speaking how you would adhere to the new code of the zero zone and zone 1 and zone 2 for the code for your landscaping around your home. And then, of course, I talked about Ready, Set, Go, which is things that you can do that are kind of common sense. Should, let's say, you do your very level best to do all this preparedness and home hardening and fuel reduction, what you could possibly do upon leaving, what should there be a disaster evacuation? So those are the things we talked about. And I had brochures from various entities in California, and at least those California, their disaster preparedness guides, etc. So if you need any of that information, of course, also look on our Normal Heights Fire Safe website, which is normalheightsfiresafe.org. Anyway, so, and that you'll get a lot more tips, and of course, the various other fire safe councils in the area, which we're calling the Mid-City Coalition of them. That would be Kensington, Talmadge, Alvarado Estates, Canyon Hills. They too have websites, and they too have just a lot of great information, good tips on home hardening, defensible space kinds of tips and guides, etc. As we do our very best to eventually get to that coveted space of being a Firewise community, which when that should happen, and as with many of our members that have been here in the community a very long time, we keep the faith and we try our best to, get better and better. It's a good goal, Firewise community. So keep that in mind whenever you're doing any home hardening and improving, whether that might be fire resistant paint, replacing wood decks and wood fences and wood gates with Class A style materials, and of course your roof as well. So keep that in mind always when you're doing those things. And then in October, to back up a month, we had a very nice surprise event, which was a very welcomed site. Kensington coordinated, and our own very own Pete Stafford was able to champion a dumpster. So I'm calling it a dark web mini dumpathon that he was able to champion and complete by very diligently printing up some invitations, walking his block in the area to garner a good interest. And I'd like to award him a little certificate in recognition of this first ever fire safe dumpster event. So if you'll come up maybe and give this to you. So it's a certificate of achievement, and it all acknowledges that Pete Stafford successfully championed the first ever Normal Heights fire safe dumpster event, thereby making his neighborhood safer from wildfire by eliminating that dry palm frond pile and more. There you go, Pete.
We got out 3.15 tons in the 2 weeks that we had the dumpster there. They emptied it once, and then they gave us another one, and we emptied it again. We really made a difference, and we're gonna try and do this. I've lived here all my life, lived on the property, I'm second generation. And I've only got a few years I can do this stuff. So we'll try and have an impact and influence make it a little safer for the whole community.
That's right. And Pete, I'd like to.
Thank you.
Of the first owners of the very new fire safe.
Thank you.
So anyway.
On your line, you wear these.
You have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself. I mean, even in gray weather, yeah, absolutely. So if there's any questions or any interest in engaging, yes.
But where did the dumpster come from? Who paid the finance?
That would be, okay, if you want the origination of the money, that's the River Conservancy. But it comes through the Regional Fire Foundation, and they hand the check to us fire safe councils. So that's where I got my check from. Kensington has a similar organization, bigger, it's got more longevity, a few more, engaged board members. So they've been able to grow their dumpster event into something they call a dump-a-thon. And it is all paid for by River Conservancy. And also some of those are donated, EDCO or Waste Management or Republic. So often will donate a couple of those dumpsters.
So what I'm hearing you say is city grant money,
No, River Conservancy.
and who are they?
They're the River Conservancy, San Diego River Conservancy.
Yeah, they get money from the water department.
No.
Are you sure? Because I get their grant requests.
Well, they get private donations. Is that what you mean?
No,
They're requesting money from you, River Conservancy?
no.
I think
they-
River
requesting
Conservancy is
grant-
non-governmental, right?
Grant proposals from me, from my organization, which I don't.
Okay, so if I'm understanding then, people are requesting money from you to
No.
fund? No. No.
I get the grant proposal requests from the stormwater abatement. And I see the River Conservancy on the list of people who submit proposals.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So in other words, that maybe one of their projects on their philanthropy list
Yeah.
is this sewer project? Is that what you're thinking, this project?
Well, grant, you can call it what you want.
Well,
So you're not really sure if the River Conservancy is funded by, stormwater grants?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I do
thank you.
not.
That's a good answer.
I do not know exactly where the money comes. I talked to a private citizen who said she had a small business and she would get flyers from the River Conservancy requesting donations
Yeah.
to the River Conservancy Fund. And then from there, of course, I'm certain there's, they probably have stewards that sit and make decisions where that money then can be divvied up to. One of the pots of money comes to us fire safe councils. And we request through a grant request
Uh-huh.
what we're going to be doing for the year, and then they can decide to fund or not fund the whole amount or
So
fund part of the amount.
Fire Safe requests a grant from River Conservancy.
Correct. Yeah, so River Conservancy gathers the money,
That's how grants work.
exactly. So,
But where does the money originate?
I don't know. But anyway, Pete, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, Mike Baldwin who coordinated out of Kensington Group. They had 18 different dumpsters scattered around Kensington and Anderson. And they are gonna sit down and talk with Susan and myself, and whoever else is interested, and do some coaching with us. So that we can go out there and have an effective campaign. They do 2 a year. They have to do 1 a year. And the target is we head to something. So spring.
Well, maybe you didn't understand my question.
Yeah.
Who's paying for
I
this?
wasn't trying to answer your question.
It's paid by private
I was
funds.
gonna say, I don't know, but we're gonna sit down with people who do know how to do it.
I did when Todd Gloria was the city council person for this district. I heard him at an event say, oh yeah, Normal Heights Planning Group, all they're interested in is bike lanes and canyons. And that was 20 years ago. And,
Hmm.
I just don't want the city to ignore my concern while focusing on a very small part. I do realize fire safety is very important, but there's other things that the city needs to do as well.
Absolutely. As we know, fire members can travel 5 miles. So no, it's not just the canyon rim, of course not. But, Mike Baldwin, his name was invoked, and he's the one who put together the coordination of the Kensington one. As you can see, it's a very long list. I hope, hope's not a plan, right? We will be doing a dump-a-thon early spring, and I will have signups and requests for hosting from anywhere in my district, which is basically a square section of Mid-City. If you look on the website, you can see what the map is, and you'll probably find that your residence or your business is located there. Anyway, so I hope to have, hopefully we can get 18 posts, that'd be great. They would not all be around the Canyon Rim. We collected, green debris back in June over from Bikes del Pueblo at the corner of 15 and El Cajon Boulevard. So that's a surprise to people, because
You
they
mentioned the-
also are located near the canyon.
You mentioned the Firewise community certification. Is that like a medallion, or did we get, what does that entail?
Well, it's pretty stringent, and typically it's just brand new communities that can achieve it, but not always. I think Kensington's well on their way to achieving a Firewise community. It's a state designation, and they may include reduction in fire insurance premiums. There's not a, guarantee, of course, because as we all know, insurance companies have their own metrics, their own algorithms.
Yeah.
But certainly it's a goal that I think always is worth the being sought after, shall we say. But yeah, if you want to call it a medallion, it's a badge of honor, a medallion, absolutely.
I'm thinking like the little Rotary Club emblem that you would see when you're entering town.
That'd be good, because of course, eventually I would like to have signage where those old broken down neighborhood watch signs are, remove those, put the Fire Safe Council watch signs up. So a medallion such as that would fit in nicely on one of those signs. I'll keep that in mind. And we already have logos, so of course that would work out well. Anyway, so if you have any questions or any concerns, and if you'd like to get engaged, please, you can respond on the website, you can send me an email, and I'd love to have you be included in whether it's workshops, hosting a dumpster, other events, let me know, okay?
Thank you. Yes.
Because I was realizing we don't have them in the local resources, like you could link up to
Oh,
your fire safe council.
I can get you that.
Yeah,
So we should
I
add
think
that.
Paul has them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great, because one thing the River Conservancy does request is that we display their logo as well, since I get funded by them. And you can view what it is right there at the door. I thought I'd bring in, this was purchased by River Conservancy money and delivered to me. I have 2 of those. So whenever you see a dumpster, hopefully we'll have some signage. At least those 2 barriers are available, but it could be anything from a placard to a yard sign, etc. And so look for one. There should be 3 designations, including the Fire Foundation, as
Okay.
well as Normal Heights FSC. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is the approval for the November minutes. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll move.
Okay, Brian has a second. Is there any comments, suggestions, changes to the minutes?
Just a question.
Yeah.
Where are they available? Is there an easy, sometimes I can find them, sometimes I can't.
Oh, they are posted on the Normal Heights CPG.org website. And there's a section on the menu that'll say agendas. If you're looking for a
I do find the agenda, but the minutes.
the minutes are also posted in that same area.
I'll try harder.
The search function actually works pretty well if you put in the month. If you want a December, you can put that in and it'll find it.
We also post the previous minutes on our website as well in the news section.
Yeah. And the city is supposed to post our minutes and agendas on their website, but they're usually 3 to 6 months behind. All right,
So am I, so.
we'll take it to a vote. Favor. And online we have Francis is a yay. Matthew, are you yay, nay, or abstain? And that's a yay in the chat. And then Danielle, Madison. Madison abstains in the chat. And Dan abstain. Okay.
Okay, so it's, Unanimous except for two abstentions, Dan and Madison.
Yes.
Thanks.
Then next up is, let's do the planning for the new year. I have some overview. Pass these right out. These are just some to work on. I think there's a few extra copies. Basically, when we look at our vision statement, we have if I can pull this up on the screen.
Here. What is that? Oh.
Well, be here soon. While that's downloading, basically we want to do is we want to align what we're going to do in the coming year with our mission, our vision statements. Make sure to share this with the people on Zoom. I think our Zoom people can see this. We read the vision statement at the beginning of the meeting. And as part of that, the bullet points that can be extracted from our mission statement is the inclusive and equitable land use, pedestrian friendly infrastructure, transit oriented development, open space preservation, affordable housing, sustainability, economic development, historic preservation, job opportunities. Now, those are very high level, lofty goals. And the more tactical aspect of that comes down to where am I going to park my car? Do I feel safe on a bicycle? So what I would like to do is have a discussion of how we fit in our tactical items that are important to us or we see as being important in the community. How do they map onto our mission? How do they map onto our charter as a community planning group? And then see where we should focus our efforts for the new year. So the other slides I have here are a little bit of overview on what items are in our community plan. Because as the city has chartered us to specifically address items in the community plan and make sure that any changes that come down that are not ministerial or pre-approved that are within our purview are compared to the community plan. We're currently in the process of updating the community plan. It was last updated in 1998. So a lot has changed since then. We didn't have electric cars then. So in the community plan, we have items that cover open space and parks, civic spaces and buildings, traffic calming, libraries, fire and life safety, utilities, water and sewer, traffic circulation, parking, mass transit, pedestrian circulation, and bicycle system. And you can see that a lot of these categories from the community plan actually overlap each other. You really can't talk about traffic circulation and traffic calming in two separate conversations. It's one piece. The same with bicycle system, pedestrian circulation, mass transit, all of those come together and have a lot of overlap. And they interplay with each other. So I really want to kind of have us thinking in terms of a systems perspective. How do we want to see our community transform? We're seeing a lull in construction right now. The construction boom that was occurring that we saw in Hillcrest, North Park, has kind of settled down, and I expect it to pick up in the next year or two. And we should be prepared for when developers start looking at Normal Heights as the next area of the city to be developed. Good, bad, and different. We are at the cusp of that. So a few things about urban planning. There's some other pages here about what is a streetscape. There's things that we kind of take for granted. Street furniture. Is there a bench where we have a bus stop? Oftentimes we don't. Sometimes we have a bench and no shade. What are the planting, lighting? What are the pavement materials? You know, part of being able to have a pedestrian friendly infrastructure is not having sidewalk lifts that are going to trip you up. Signage, the public spaces. We don't have a lot of public spaces in Normal Heights. We have sort of the Ward Canyon Park, have our little pocket parks up at the north end of Mountain View, and then here at the rec center. But we don't really have a lot of little parks scattered, especially throughout when you get south of Adams, especially as you get down towards El Cajon. There's not a lot of public spaces for just stopping with your dog, say. Building design. Normal Heights tends to be kind of a mixed bag because it's been hit with the various phases of developments, whether it was the original build out of the Spanish Revival architecture and the casitas and the original layout and the plans that were those streets were laid out in 1906, and then housing developments in the pre-war 1920s, 1930s, and then post-war. Seeing the development of a lot of apartment buildings, apartment complexes through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. We had a lot of densification in Normal Heights. There's more density than you might realize at first glance. A lot of our bungalows actually have another bungalow in the backyard. And accessibility. We have just our number 11 bus. We don't have 24/7 public transportation in our area. We don't have protected bike lanes until you get down to, I believe it's Madison. Me. Thank you. Bridges. We were at one point supposed to get a bridge across is it Meade again? Monroe. There was going to be a pedestrian bridge with a park over with park lid over the freeway, and that did not happen. And in sustainability, that kind of plays into a lot of these other items, especially in terms of transportation. And I addressed the density. There's both pros and cons for density. It makes it more walkable, easier to get somewhere, but it can also create a lot of a lack of privacy or congestion. And then identity is something I think Normal Heights struggles with, because most of our identity comes through our events, our history with music, the Spanish Revival architecture to some degree, but because of the mixed development down Adams Avenue, what I see personally is a mixture of different architectural styles, and a lot of them don't have a strong historical context. And Dan, feel free to interrupt and prove me wrong.
Oh, we do have, yeah. Lack of a better term, the blind lady ale building, that's already a historic resource.
So we have some cornerstones.
Yeah, cornerstones, the Cartier shopping area there is very historic. So there are those elements and, so.
So the question might be, how do we expand or enhance those cornerstones?
Right, well, you know, one of the things that may tie in with some of the other subjects is the idea of sustainability. And through that, we're also talking about carbon footprints. To make something sustainable, one should also use the carbon footprint that exists there, not discard it, put it in the landfill. And so another way of saying that, if you can have wonderful historic buildings and you can develop behind them and not totally obliterate the carbon footprint that exists there and not fill it the landfill. You can have your development and historic preservation in one concept.
Okay, is the Starbucks building an example of that?
The Starbucks building could be, except I think in the strict sense of the word, that would be considered a severely altered building because basically the building that is there now is the chopped off half of the other half that used to be there. So there has a special consideration for that, and I wouldn't necessarily weigh in how that would play out, but just my general knowledge of how designations work, and especially the city, they would probably take a dim view of trying to preserve that building.
So that would be more of a case of that brownfield or reusing existing structure to reduce the amount of building materials, more than preservation of a historic building.
Well, like I say, you know, you have the facades which can be retained, and then behind these structures, it's good to have a setback before you start to go up. Examples of that would be like the warehouse district, Echo Park. Several of those historic buildings at the street level that I view are still the historic buildings, but you have to look up sometimes to actually see there's a modern structure above it. Usually above it and behind, so there are those precedents, and the idea of sustainability should really look at kind of solutions.
Okay. I think maybe just kind of spitballing here. Let's collect some topics, kind of like keywords, and you know, what's your priority? What are the hot topics for you? And I know, Dan, you were just talking about that. I know you might have some hot topics. So why don't you go ahead and start? And what we'll do is we'll popcorn this. So you point to the next person and put them on the hot seat.
Well, yeah, I think my whole thing was converging to some degree the idea of sustainability and historic resources. And so, well, let's go over here to Ken.
So what I would like added.
Yeah, what do you focus, keywords, ideas, topics?
Already covered every time. The pooling water is the only thing that I think I noticed more than anything else. A lot of standing water at intersections.
Okay.
Different, especially alleyways. It just seems like it might not be healthy. Yeah.
Okay.
Standing water.
Right. Okay. So this is infrastructure and public health.
Yes. Health and safety.
Go ahead and popcorn somebody.
Yeah, redevelopment of the demolish site and also down the road, Rite Aid. those are two really big lots that are going to have a big impact on what that side of Normal Heights looks like. I think we should try to be proactive with that and try to get in as early as we possibly can. Now that we have a new owner for the Millie site. I don't know what's happening with the Rite Aid site, but yeah, we should try to, because those are such big lots that they will have a huge impact on the community, regardless of what happens to them.
Okay. Go ahead and popcorn.
Oh, yeah, Alan, go ahead.
Okay, enhancing walkability through infrastructure maintenance and improvement, sidewalks getting repaired, streetlights being repaired when they exist and being put in when they don't exist. That's really what I would.
Go ahead and popcorn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, my thing is still, I was wondering if it's still in the works about the ADA on East Mountain View Drive and that area, you know, before Maddie's alleyway.
Yeah, the one on Arthur and Felton, I think, somewhere in there. The North Mountain View area.
The one that's right behind Maddie on East Mountain View at the
Yeah.
alley, just south of Adams. It's on the unfunded needs list.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so we have one on,
Anything actually happens there, they can do it.
I see.
They're not gonna do it until something else is happening there.
Okay, so we have one on the list, and the one that's north of Adams is scheduled for installation by the folks that are doing the sewer and water upgrades. So they have it on their list. Yeah. We've got one of the two sites in progress.
Yeah, that side and the other side, street, you know, next to the alley across the street, it doesn't have that either, and so it's hard for people that are, you know, handicapped to get through there. You have to go all the way around, you know, all the way over to Cherokee and come back Adams Avenue to get to Maddie's, when you can just go a short length of the loop and you can get right to Maddie's.
Right.
Mhm.
Again, this is, the infrastructure, the sidewalk infrastructure. I think it dovetails with Alan's very
And our
well.
alley is like
Yeah.
crumbled, you know, it's all uneven. I have to, when I go through there, I have to be really careful walking through there.
Pick someone.
Can I pick it within the fire safety?
All right, you're up.
Goodness, something faithful, so you were talking about a buzzword or something like that, maybe?
Keyword
Like
with the
keyword?
topic. We have a lot of concerns in the community, and what kind of things hit the top of your list?
Concerns at the top of my list, probably would have to be the paving. I think that's absolute top, because it's such a walkable community with destinations. So I want to stay as active and engaged as I can, that thing called Thrive. So anything that can help me do that safely.
happenings.
Guys, I think personally, like, top concerns for the community are, like, park space and green space. I know that our neighborhood is underparked, and I think that for a lot of people, one of the greatest things about San Diego is like access to nature. It's a really beautiful climate and a beautiful place. So I think getting more like easily accessed green space in the neighborhood would benefit a lot of folks. I would enjoy having that. And then also affordability, I think, is another concern. Especially when we're talking about development, like when we do have developers talking about building apartment complexes. I think that it's fair to ask as a community that if we're getting something out of that. Like I personally would like to see developments that have like a certain number of affordable units. To me, that's important. I think that the requirement in San Diego is like 10% of units need to be affordable, which is like 80% of area median income. It's deemed as affordable, which is like over $80,000 a year, annual income. And so I think if we want a community that is affordable to folks, doesn't necessarily like escalate pricing in the neighborhood, we should, or at least I think it's fair to ask for units that would be affordable to folks in the neighborhood at like a higher rate than is typical in the city. But that's my personal opinion, and I think in general affordability is a priority.
Okay. But pick someone.
Who is not so.
Mark is not.
Seven.
Okay. So I would say I'm the same with Alan, Susan and Kim on like pedestrian safety and mobility safety. So with the sidewalks or road paving, just as someone who normally gets around in this neighborhood mostly on foot or on a bike. I really would like to feel safe in our neighborhood when walking around the streets. So I think that is just that's my big keyword.
Okay.
Mark.
I'll talk for him.
Go ahead.
What I like to see too is traffic calming, because I watched several times, Adams Avenue is a very busy street.
Yeah.
And I've noticed over at Maddie's, when the yellow flashing goes for people to walk, they're not stopping. They just keep going. And, it's not, so I call that, they're not paying attention to what they're doing, and they're not allowing these people to cross the street. They're just, they're thinking it's, we have to do work or whatever. And they don't think about anybody else, that needs to get to cross the street to another, wherever they're going, to the store or whatever. And it's getting worse. And they're using my street as a way to detour Adams Avenue. They're going down East Mountain Drive to Cherokee. And it's getting very busy. And we have a school there that has like partial crosswalks. And like Wednesdays, these kids are gonna get hit because they just go zooming through past my house. And they're not stopping, they don't care, they're getting to their destination if they're going to work or school or whatever. And it's getting very busy there, and I'm worried about, the kids that you have to cross that street.
Right.
And it's only like, there's one on a crosswalk on Cherokee and going towards, there's the coming section that was put in there by the market there. And there's only another one that's over there by where the meal prep is. And there's no place for them to, they have to go all the way down to go across. And they used to have one where that dip is on Cherokee, and when they made that cement construction in there, they took that crosswalk out. So there's no crosswalk to get across any of those, either side of that at the place or anywhere. So I'd like to see that more traffic calming in that area.
Yeah, thank you. There's a term for going around the main drag that they use in Scotland. It's called rat running. Just like if you think of a rat going through a maze and they can't get where they want to go, they'll divert to a side street. So,
I'm the one that got those stop signs in. I don't know. I remember they were 10 or 15 miles an hour, but I got those, worked with the city and the traffic calming thing, got those signs put in.
Parker, do you have any? You're welcome to.
Aside from like working on the Fort Canyon area.
Oh, okay.
Park.
Parks.
Yeah. Currently, also the other one on there.
The park.
The other one's after the bridge.
Oh.
Fort Canyon.
Yeah. Fort Canyon, yeah.
Another part, but yeah, probably right. Definitely. Working on that part.
Hi, Francis. I think they lagged out again.
I don't know what's good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I
It's
can't
happened
hear.
to me twice now that they have like either frozen or gone mute, and then we get kicked out of the meeting, and then Paul joins again.
Oh, I see it. I just had no idea what was going on because I missed big.
We're muted again.
Hello, can you?
Paul, you're muted.
There we go.
Can you?
Yes.
Would be get bonds to build a building like they did over on Washington.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Then move that over and then develop where the bond is now.
Right.
That would be ideal to put a 2-story in there with a grocery store that is actually got something in it.
So I think this fits with Brian, your idea of developing these underutilized properties, and also Kim, you had mentioned about being proactive. So I'm very interested in pursuing that. Let's go to Francis. You've got your hand up.
Okay, I this is cutting in and out. I've missed big chunks, so I have no idea what anybody's, I've missed. I don't know if I'm being repetitive because I wasn't able to hear a lot of what people were saying. But I want to, sorry.
These are all our own personal perspectives. So
Okay. Okay.
and we're
All right.
listing them out.
Okay, so I think everything everybody said is great. I agree with all of these. It's hard to know what to prioritize because they're all, desperately needed improvements. I don't know if anybody has mentioned the urban canopy, which is important to me. In addition to all the things already mentioned. I think this neighborhood is, really deficient in trees, except along Adams Avenue. But when you get back into some of certainly, and especially south of Adams, there are just no trees whatsoever. And I think that's, more important than people realize for lots of reasons. I know it's counterintuitive to fire safety probably, but I think there are trees that can be planted that are not, that are less flammable than other trees. But I would
That's
just
the
like
healthy, Francis, the
say
healthy
that
trees.
the healthy
The
trees,
healthy
yeah,
is
right.
the fire tree.
Right. So anyway, I just like to add that to all the things everyone has already said. And I really think that paying attention and trying to direct the development of the Rite Aid site and Demili's site is really, really important. I mean, Paul, you had talked in the past about trying to get a library. I mean, to get a new library, maybe at the Rite Aid site, or, maybe as that gentleman suggested, Vaughn's moves to Rite Aid and, the Vaughn's site becomes, but I think there's plenty of space to build a fantastic library in one site or the other with housing above. Why not?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Matthew, you've got your hand raised, so I'll move to you. You're muted.
Sorry, sorry about that. I just want to, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. I just wanted to say that I agree with the affordability topic regarding housing. Most of the newly built apartment buildings in the neighborhood have rent costs that price out the majority of San Diegans when looking at the median income here. Average costs of some of the new studios near Adams are about $3,000 to one bedroom in the neighborhood, costing $3,500 to $4,000 and up. I think this prices out the majority of San Diegans and long-term residents as well. And then I also like the point regarding accessibility. I think accessibility via sidewalk fixes and ramps is something that's key and important to focus on. And then paving the streets as well for bicycles.
Good point about the paving for bicycles. Generally, we think of streets for paving for cars, but if you've ever tried to ride a bike through some potholes, it can be pretty rough.
Oh, for sure. By the Shell station, it's treacherous.
Yes. I think we've covered everyone on the board. I want to give a little opportunity for anyone in the room, general public comment, if you want to chime in on what our priorities should be, and I'll give out 2 minutes per person, please.
I would just kind of say the word of accountability when it comes to, as I was bringing up earlier about the park, when it comes to if some new development happens in these sites, wouldn't it be amazing if it was something similar to Starbucks in Kensington, where it's kind of keeping in mind a historic feel to kind of enhance this main boulevard feel, as opposed to just, unfortunately, sometimes builders just propose something that looks great, and then when it comes down to it, everything gets stripped down to just a big box. So, approving a plan that enhances our neighborhood instead of just makes the builder make more money. And I loved your point about affordability and of having more affordable units. And I would say a lot of times when the builders propose affordable units, it's always studios and one bedrooms. And just realizing what a family community we are, right across those sites being right across from several different schools, are there any family that has 2 or 3 kid affordability, portable 2 or 3 bedroom apartments, not just trying to bring in only single people who only have one card. You know, like, let's keep this a thriving neighborhood and get the kids going to the local schools, you know.
Okay,
That's what Teresa is gonna do.
is there anyone else for comments?
I have one more.
Yes.
About the trees. A month or so ago, in Canton, Recreation Center. And over here on, 52nd and Orange, the park over there, they had, the one in Canton had an event. And they had the kids there, and they planted trees at that recreation center. And it was a big event. Todd Gloria was there and everything, promoting this, having these trees planted. And they went over and Camino del Sol Park. They've been planting trees over there, and nice trees, and they're growing. So I think they should have some kind of event at Ward Canyon. Maybe plant some in the bowl. I don't know about putting some more trees in for shade, because they can have an event there and have the kids come over, or families come over and do this as a project and get Todd Gloria involved in it and everything, and the rec centers, and get the trees planted.
Or maybe an event to ask homeowners to show up and get signups going for people to request trees to be planted in their parkway. Because the city will just come plant a tree, you don't get to pick it out, but, kind of like a sign up event, like, hey, we'll help you put in your request to get the canopy moving along.
They put a lot of trees in there. I got some video. It's a big thing. They had a lot of kids. There must be a couple hundred kids that they were with their parents.
That's
cool. And the
Yeah.
our church was involved. The vision was in charge of doing that too, helping them.
Anecdotally, where my street, 38th Street, this is maybe a week or so ago, that truck was coming along, and on that truck were all full of trees, little, I guess you call them baby trees or something. And there was this digger, it's just like this crane thing that goes down and in the parkway there, dug a hole, and somebody came along to sweep the dirt, and they plopped a tree right there, and then somebody else came along with a couple of stakes, pulled it up, tied it up, and they put a bunch of mulch in there, and they informed us that this crew or whatever will be by, I think, what was it, there's a schedule they have. They will come in water. And I think the city has actually tried to do some of this, tree planting before, but a lot of the trees have died because they went in the ground and people ignored them.
Right.
So anyway, they're promising they're going to be here to take care of it for a certain period of time until the tree gets its roots. So
I'm interested in what other cities are doing. I've seen some cities are pretty successful with their tree programs, and I'm wondering what's the difference? Like, are they maintaining them, or did they choose different types of trees?
They had certain types of trees on that truck.
Yeah.
And the guy even, they didn't put one in front of my place because I've already got a bunch of stuff there, but the house next door, they said, which tree do you want? They had a few different ones.
I wonder if the neighbors had got together and all requested that, or.
I don't think so, because they're all surprised. In fact, one neighbor didn't like it. Didn't like it.
There's always one.
This is, what's going on is it's part of the city's Ready, Set, Grow program.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it's funded by a USDA grant, and it's something that they're doing throughout in different census tracts throughout the city. And the census tract that we're in is fortunate enough to have this, so it's just a corner of Normal Heights. It's the southeast corner,
Yeah,
south of Madison, east of 36th.
yeah,
But they've put in at least 1 or 2 trees on every block,
yeah.
and, you know, they look really nice. And
Yeah.
hopefully the grant is supposed to cover the cost of watering them for 3 years, so.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I didn't get one in front of my house either. Yeah, stuff, right?
So I'm just gonna do a quick summary here. We don't have any action item on this. This is just sort of a polling, informal polling of, you know, what we're thinking. And at the top of the list, I'm really coming up with infrastructure related to mobility, specifically sidewalks, well, water drainage being part of that. The second item is tree canopy and green space. Third is affordability tailored to the community. So we're looking at the 2 and 3 bedrooms, not just the studios. And then site development, being proactive and making sure that there's an inclusion of amenities within those projects. And then lastly is traffic safety, which has to do with the calming, preventing people from going around on the traffic jams unsafely and so on. So making sure the traffic flow is good. So with that, I will leave those for the notes, and then we'll have an item where we can start prioritizing and maybe form some committees or do some investigation. We'll take some action items in the new year. Yes.
Quick question to everyone in the room.
Yes.
So I know not everyone was here at the last meeting, but there was a presentation by San Diego Canyonlands. And they talked about like opportunities for canyon restoration in Normal Heights. And I was just wondering what folks' thoughts were on that, if people are interested in that, if we think we have the capacity to even think about that. Especially I wanted to ask our Normal Heights Fire Safe Council, because I know he talked about how it contributes to the fire resilience as well. But yeah, I just wanted to.
And you're talking about taking out the invasive species and replacing it with native species. That's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Of course, more directly, I just like to have some downed trees pulled out of the canyons.
Yeah.
Because of course they're fire fuel.
Yeah.
And I think Canyonlands can do that. They happen to have the equipment for that, which is outstanding. Unsure where they're funded, but must be big money.
I think
which is great.
It sounds like they don't independently get funding. Like if there were a project, like there would be like whatever community group partners with them, like we/they would be a part of the fundraising. So there is like a time commitment, it sounds like, involved.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So then too, I've been looking at maps because I'm writing the community wildfire protection plan for Normal Heights. And the plan, the maps will show you who owns what, where. And for the most part, the canyons are privately owned, but there happens to be some pretty good swatches, I think, on the western side that are city owned. And certainly developing those certainly would be maybe a little less cumbersome, because what you'd have to do is get permissions from each one of those private canyon owners for whatever restoration or accessibility to the canyon. But there's a couple, one of them being Ellison Place.
Yeah, and I think also like some of the images that he showed, and I like go running up there and I like look at the canyon, but they're at the very bottom of the canyon. It's city owned, and that's a stretch where it's like really dry and kind of like there's not a lot of habitat happening there. And so I think that like west side of the canyon and also the bottom of the canyon, that there's not a lot of like ecosystem there anymore. Like those would be the areas that we could work on for like a canyon restoration project, which I think would be really cool, and probably we all like the idea of that. I guess the question is like, how feasible is that for, the amount of like time that would take, and obviously funding, yeah, so.
Well, if the funds are known, how much, what kind of a project it is, certainly there's money out there. And my then further bigger project is to set up a 501(c)(3) foundation so that I can go after that bigger money. My idea is for, of course, that fire safe purposes, number one being a Gila hydrant. So I would think it would kind of coordinate too with the Canyonlands thoughts of restoring habitat and beautifying really and sustainability as far as I guess comfort as well as fire safety. And I should think that several agencies or several interest groups could come up with something really good. Like I said, there's a couple of sites that we're looking at, and I'm sure at least one or probably both of them need restoration, but use that right away. And with a view that, you know, there's gonna be bigger use for that open space. It's very, very precious in mid-city open space available.
Thanks.
Any other thoughts? Thank you.
For those that did not see, that were not here, did not see the presentation, you can see it on the website. Just search for the meeting of, that would be November, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you do a search, you'll find the video posted there. It's also on the NHCPG YouTube channel. Next we'll go to, I'm gonna jump over to government representation because I see Fatima's on the channel. And I'll make sure that she has at least some time to catch some dinner today.
Hi everyone, Fatima Maciel with the Mayor's Office, Community Rep for Council Districts 1 and 9. I hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving holiday and are preparing for the next few weeks until we hit Christmas. But just a few really important updates here. I sent these updates over to Paul in case you want the whole report, but I'll just mention some of the upcoming ones that you should all be aware of. Later on this year, our administration is going to work on the release the public outreach engagement plan for a new policy initiative that we're working on that's actually focused on a lot of what you all were mentioning today, affordability for housing. So we're specifically focusing on the missing middle of the housing ladder. So our middle class working families that are struggling to essentially buy homes in San Diego. So we recognize that this is a huge affordability issue here in San Diego. A lot of people who are not able to buy their first time homes. So we will start to roll out this initiative by doing public engagement and community outreach. I don't have a whole lot of details on what that will look like. It will be starting something that will roll out later next year. So please be on the lookout. We're looking to directly engage with residents, any housing experts, stakeholders on what kind of middle income homes you would actually like to see in your neighborhoods and across the city. We're really looking, again, like I said, for sale options, condos, townhomes, and row homes. So those are typically the type of homes that you see that are, they have parking on the bottom and then the home is on top. So those are some of the housing options that we're looking at. Of course, renderings and other ideas will start to be released as this policy initiative really gets fleshed out with your input. And so, like I said, we will start to reach out to you all and make sure that that information is available to you all so you can all participate in this creation of this policy, essentially. Last month, I also spoke on ALPRs. Those are automatic license plate readers. Since then, it has gone to both our Privacy Advisory Board and Public Safety Committee with our City Council. They both got approved at both of those meetings with additional amendments to the policy. It will be coming again for a full City Council hearing on December 9th. So if you are available, interested, and want to participate in that discussion, please note that it will be at 2 p.m. at City Council or City Hall on the 12th floor, should you want to participate in person. Again, this is a really important item for us to essentially be approved for because they have helped us in a number of cases or has specifically helped SDPD in a number of cases. And should this item not be approved, it could lead to a decrease in the number of crimes that we solve essentially at the city or across the city. So if you want more information on ALPRs, happy to share those reports with you as well. And then lastly here, a really important item that we actually received funding, an additional grant from the state's Office of Traffic Safety Awards. It gave SDPD a total amount of, oh, I actually don't have it here, but we got a certain amount of money that essentially will allow SDPD to do additional traffic, conduct additional traffic safety programming. So this includes a lot of the DUI checkpoints that you've been seeing across the city recently. We did one recently in Pacific Beach. I believe it was the night of, or the weekend of Halloween, where they did one, and they actually were able to grab a number of suspected DUI individuals through that DUI checkpoint. So they will be continuing to do those, again, provided per that grant, and then additional education and outreach to residents across the city on how to be a safe driver, and also to remind folks to not drive under the influence. And they'll be doing other additional enforcement operations to ensure that we're obviously maintaining driver safety on the road. So those are the biggest things that I have for this month. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you offline, but wanted to find out if the street sweeping occurred, I think it was Route 312, that we were emailing back and forth on.
Yes,
I'm not sure if
it did occur. I can go ahead and send over the after photos that the team shared with me. I'll actually just go ahead and send those to you right now since I do have them on me. But it did happen as scheduled. They were able to sweep most of the street. Obviously, there was a few cars that kind of lingered behind. But regardless, the photos looked pretty great, so we'll send them over to you. And should you run into any problems again like that, in terms of, you're not seeing the street sweeper coming on regular days, please let us know so that we can make sure to check in with our stormwater department and see what's going on their end.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a big win for us. Thank you. I think our next step is probably focusing on the root cause of the dirt in the street, which is the unpaved alleys that are getting beat up by the heavy trucks that are doing the trash removal and creating some potholes and things like that. So I'll work on getting those mapped out for your team, because I know that after the rains, a lot of times those alleyways are graded and sometimes gravel filled. So we'll definitely get you the list so we can kind of keep that dirt in the alley instead of running out into the street.
Sounds good. I'll be on the lookout for that email. Thank you.
Okay.
We have another person back there.
Oh, yes. We have one.
Yes, hi, my name is Ashton. Great to see you guys here again with the Assembly Member Sharp Collins' office. So just a few updates since the last time I was here. One is we finally recently just got up on our page. There ought to be a law. This is on our website at a79.asmdc.org. And over there you can find our page. There ought to be a law under the district tab there. And over there, because we're about to start the new legislative cycle, that is where you can put in all of your legislative ideas, your budgetary ideas for the following year. If there's anything you'd like to see additional funding for from the state, from our office, that would be the place to put it in. So if you guys need any assistance being guided to that part of the website, I'd be more than happy to assist afterwards. The other thing that we just got up on our website, not as recently, but we did get that up relatively recently, is the RSVP tab for our upcoming holiday giveaway. You guys probably saw all the turkey giveaways go around for Thanksgiving. We figured Christmas is coming up too, and a lot of families, especially with benefits that are being cut right now at the federal level, it's going to be in high demand this year. We've been talking to our food banks, a lot of our partners here, and there's just the demand is just surging at this moment. So we decided to hold it on December 20th is when it's going to be at 11 a.m. at Bell Middle School. So if you'd like to RSVP for that, there will be a ham giveaway, a turkey giveaway. There's also going to be a toy drive that's going to be hosted over there, a Coke giveaway, as well as a shoe giveaway there. again, you guys have any questions, as far as navigating the website or further questions on the event, more than happy to answer that. And then we also just had our apprenticeship fair recently. This happened just about a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, sorry. And this took place over at the San Diego College of Continuing Education here in nearby in City Heights. And it was a wonderful turnout. Over there we had over 100 attendees and a little over 20 vendors over there, just connecting people with a variety of career opportunities, from trades to technology to the Port of San Diego shipbuilding. So very heartening to see at a time when the jobs market is just greater for us. So we're really excited to go through with that event. And the last update I have for you guys on my end is so we just had a new staff member who's joined us this last week. She will be taking over for me in this part of the district. I will be referring back to the part of the district I've normally been in during my time here, which is out by El Cajon, like the polar opposite end of the district. So she will be coming here starting next month. Her name is Carolina. I can provide you guys with her contact information if you have any questions, or if there's any legislative ideas you guys would like to speak to her about. I can provide you guys with that contact info as well. Okay. And that's all I have on my end, but more than happy to take any questions.
Yeah, Francis has her hand raised.
Yeah, I actually had a question. You didn't see my hand, but I wanted to ask Fatima a question if she's still there.
Hi, yes, I am.
Oh, thanks. I just wanted to, you mentioned that there was increased funding for police enforcement, traffic DUI, which I'm very glad to hear because I recently had 2 cars destroyed by a drunk driver. But I wonder if if there's any chance that some of that police enforcement could be directed toward, the speeding problems and the traffic, red light running and stop sign running problems that we have in Normal Heights. I mean, things are bad here and we need some enforcement. So is there any remote possibility that some of that police enforcement could come our way?
I can definitely share that with their department. I don't know how they are prioritizing specific areas or how areas are being chosen for specific enforcement operations, but I do want to share that part of so there's a long list of different eligible resources.
Your audio cut out there.
Oh, can you still hear me all?
Oh, now we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So like I said, I can definitely pass along that feedback over to our department. I'm not 100% sure how they're prioritizing specific enforcement operations across the city. I just gave Pacific Beach as one example, as a most recent one, but I'm sure that they're definitely open to any feedback that residents have. And also areas that they know are high priority areas in terms of most recent crashes and most recent deaths. I do want to share that part of the eligible resources that are included within this grant does include enforcement operations focused on the top violations that you mentioned as well, such as speeding, failure to yield, stop sign and red light running, or improper turning or lane changes. Those are all part of their enforcement operations that this grant essentially funds for them. I'll look into a little bit detail on how specifically they are executing these operations and how neighborhoods or areas are chosen. And I'll pass along the feedback that you would like to see that in Normal Heights.
Yeah, and I mean, Alan has done a lot of work on trying to get some traffic calming in Normal Heights, and met with complete stone wall on every front. So it would be really nice if someone could, if they could pay a little bit of attention to the problems that we're having here. Thank you.
Definitely, I'll pass that feedback along to their department.
Do we have any other government representation? Okay.
Do we have a new staffer for D9 yet?
We do. She's just come into into play.
So maybe next month.
Yeah, next month. So that's city, county, state, and federal. Local organizations. Any news from AABA? They met this morning. Okay, El Cajon Boulevard Businesses Association, Gary Weber usually represents for them. Normal Heights Community Association. Normal Heights Urban Arts. Adams Community Recreation Advisory Group.
I'm talking about development parks.
We had you got to go early. Normal Heights for Smart Growth. I will defer to the next item on here, which will be the community garden update. At this point, the community garden has applied for 501(c) status and received a letter from Secretary of State just came in. So that's officially in progress. There's still some more paperwork that has to be done with filings with the Secretary of State, Attorney General, the IRS, and the Franchise Tax Board all need their own documents and check boxes. So once that's completed, probably take about another month to work through those. They do turn those around fairly quickly. The most important item is the bylaws for the 501(c)(3) for the Normal Heights Community Garden needs to have a body of shareholders that will be electing the board. So the board has been selected to start up, but if at the end of their 2-year term, there'll be another round of elections. There's no term limits, but there is a vote, and it needs to come from the community. So rather than putting it to the public at large, we've decided to have this body as one of the electors. The Normal Heights Community Recreation Group would be another group of electors. And then the third one is Normal Heights for Smart Growth. So those 3 organizations would be the voting body for electing the board of directors, which is 5 seats. So that's more of a heads up than anything that we have to make a decision on, because this current board that's been selected, they're up for a 2-year term. So this will be coming down the pipe, and there'll be one of our meetings where we'll say, here's the slate, and of course they'll have to have, candidates could be proposed from the public, from board of directors, but I'll make sure that that you guys are copied on the bylaws once they're approved by the current board. So we should probably have approval on that by the end of this week, so that we can get those other submissions to the Franchise Tax Board and Attorney General and so on. Any questions on that? Okay. We're still looking at trying to get some mulch from our D9 council or some other sources, and working on start working on grants and fundraising in parallel with the formation of the 501(c)(3). So right now, Normal Heights for Smart Growth provides the nonprofit status for donation collection. But at some point, we'll be turning that over to the newly formed 501(c)(3) so they can issue their own tax letters and manage their own grant submissions.
Have you been over to the garden, see if after the rain, and then that started the grass?
But the idea is that if we've been able to solarize most of it down, and anything that comes back is going to be kind of weak. And then that's going to get the cardboard and the mulch over the top of that, which will kill it down. And then anything that sprouts through that, that's manual hoeing. So at this point, we're hoping to get the 501(c)(3) started up, get that permit for the water, because we'll need to be watering that mulch to make it break down, and then get that installation going. So all of those moving at a sloth pace, just one step at a time. Okay, I'll move on to the chair report. The community planners committee that I'm normally attending moved their meeting to be away from the Thanksgiving, so they're meeting as we speak, and that's where Emily is. She's representing us at the CPC. Their main agenda item is the land development code update. In that body of 200 different items, There was really one item that stood out to me of concern for Normal Heights, and that's the Complete Communities is changing their what do you call it when you get an exception from a tax?
Exemption?
The exemption for developer impact fees, currently Complete Communities discounts, you get discounts for units that are 500 square feet or under, which encouraged a lot of studio growth in San Diego. We've become overbuilt on studio and micro units by about 150%, and we're starving on the 2 and 3 bedroom units. So they're shifting the incentive over to multi-bedroom units and getting rid of the 5. That's what's being proposed anyways, getting rid of the 500 and under deduction. The DeMills site that was slated to be a 7-story, 175 units was all under 500 square foot units. The new owners may or may not build according to that existing plan. They might pull the architect's plans off the shelf and reuse them. If they do, they could reconfigure the floors for different unit sizes. Still using the same footprint. So there's a lot of different options floating around, but whether or not they would be able to get the discount for the micro units depends on whether their entitlements from the original plan carry over. So the original developer bankrupted out. The development loan company foreclosed on the property and then resold it to another company that plans on developing it. Whether those entitlements from the original plan and the original application carried through is unknown. The permits were never paid for, but the entitlements were, the plans were deemed complete, which should give them the entitlements. But whether they flow through that chain, we don't know. This is all up in the air. Plus, we don't even know the intention of the new owners. So a lot of moving parts that we don't know. But we're trying to keep track of where those are going. And the land development code update is part of that. Any questions? Joint Mid-City Community Plan Update Committee, that's usually Emily is reporting on that. And she's at the other meeting, obviously. And the next up is Historical Property Review Report. Any news?
No, on the city of San Diego, 45-year review website, all the addresses listed there are out of our neighborhood. There was Felton, but not our Felton.
Oh, okay. And utility undergrounding and street lighting, Mad. Francis?
Yeah, so couple, I guess it's looking now as though the actual beginning, what am I trying to say? The commencement of construction or the whole physical work is not going to begin until towards the end of 2026. So it's been pushed back again. What Emily and I are trying to do now, well, currently we're trying to get some figures out of the city, trying to get them to produce an estimate for 2 different scenarios with lighting. What if we had special lighting, the acorn lights, what 2 different, if we had a lot of acorn lights and then just some acorn light, and what that would mean in terms of cost to individual homeowners. And they're supposedly going to come up with those figures. I'm not quite sure when. We've asked them, various people at the city, we really would like to have a meeting as they did back in 2019, where we have, SDG&E and people from the city and AT&T and all the different people involved in this undergrounding, but they are not willing to do that now. I think it was not convenient and raised too many questions, and it's not a thing that they want to do. So Emily and I are thinking that we would actually like to, have a public sort of informational meeting, just ourselves, with whatever information we've scraped together. And we're kind of thinking maybe of February of next year. And have a meeting at one of our planning group, one of these meetings, like maybe the February meeting. And just try to, get as many members of the public who will be affected by this. It's not all of Normal Heights, it's just that top right corner, but, kind of publicize it really well and just allow people an opportunity to at least ask questions, and maybe we can get some maps of what the intentions are, where things are going to go, that sort of thing. So that's kind of where we are with it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions from the room? And if not, then I think we shall adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you.